Hi there folks, I've got a wee project to do today for a family member. It won't get completed today by any means, but I thought I'd make a wee bit of an in-progress video as I go through some of the first steps. So let's get started. The current slash old router table without the miter saw inside it, because it's such a beautiful day. I thought I would get outside because I was squaring up the blade. Didn't turn out to need much. It was at 90 degrees, and making a quick zero clearance plate for 90-degree cuts so that I can start my cutting on the CLS I bought yesterday. This wee whiteboard or dry erase board that's magnetic as well is incredibly handy for taking wee notes. There's another thing I do with it if I'm going to be making some cuts outside for whatever reason, either to get a minimum of dust inside the shed or because I don't have room to use a tool in here. What I do is I take the stuff off this and it just lifts off the top, and this little tray for the pens can then act as a little stand which lets me prop up my cut list. This is an optimised list. Each row is a single 2.4 metre length of CLS split into the 63mm wide and the single 89mm wide piece I've got at the back there, and the red numbers obviously the repetitions, and then I check off each one once I'm done. I can just leave that propped up wherever I am, and I've got a big easy reference. I don't need to be looking at my phone or, God forbid, printing out pieces of paper or whatever. Pretty handy. Very makeshift zero clearance plate for 90-degree cuts. Completed the first line of the cut list using a 2.4 metre length of CLS. Got these, and the wastage is just that. Pretty good. Just a wee note about that cut list before. This is incredibly simple stuff, but it was, once upon a time, it was new to me, and maybe it will be useful or interesting to those of you who are also just getting started. There's a big list of different cuts to make, but there was only I think 4 or 5 different actual lengths, and then I had to repeat them, which is why these are so many pieces of the same length. You don't have to measure each time, you only need to measure each unique length once, and then you just transfer or duplicate the cut. And the way that works is simple. I was using the miter saw. Let's imagine that this square is the blade of the miter saw. Come down, zip. What you basically do, this is a spare piece of CLS. So say I wanted to cut this to have another one this size. What you do is get the one you've already cut, you know is the right length. Bring the miter saw down so that the blade is just past it. So if you were to bring that blade down whilst spinning, it wouldn't take off any more material, it would just go past it. And then what you do is you basically get your piece that you're cutting and run it along so that the far ends are lined up. I don't have room to do that just now, but imagine it was like that. So that the far ends are lined up perfectly. You can just place another piece of wood against them to make sure of that. And then clamp it down. You can take the front one away, and when you bring it, the saw blade down, zip, you will end up with pieces exactly the same length. As long as there's, you know, not too much bowing or cupping, and you've clamped everything down and made sure the far ends of them were absolutely level with each other. And you just do that for each length. You sort of use a previous one of that length as a template. What you don't want to do is measure. Never measure if you can possibly avoid it. Always just use a reference for something you already know is the right length. Sometime later, cut list done. Now I just have to make something out of it. This is what I've been working on today. It's not actually fastened or assembled, it's just sitting, which is why I've got these bench dogs in to lift the stretchers. But it's a little outdoor table for my father-in-law. They had their patio redone up in Dundee, and one of the pavers happened to have a sort of fossilised little plant kind of thing on it, so they kept that one aside and he wanted to make a table that would have it as a centrepiece. So this lip just inside all the way around will take that big sort of stone paver, and then I'll route in these edges 6mm down and about 10mm in for a sheet of perspex, which will custom order. That'll sit in level with the top of this, and then trim around the edges to finish it off, plus the appropriate treatment and stain and so forth. Hopefully that should be a nice fun wee addition to their garden once it's finished. Well, that was a long day. I had to go to the hardware place twice, had to get some trim and so on, which I have already cut just at the last minute. Just D trim, almost exactly matches the thickness of the CLS. I need to mitre it tomorrow because it's going to be the top of the table. And I finished about 2 minutes after I would usually leave to go and pick up my son from nursery. So pretty exhausted, but definitely making a lot of progress. I will have another video when the table itself is getting assembled and really takes its final shape. Hope you'll join me for that. Please do subscribe, leave a wee comment. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. See you in the next one. Bye.